First off, if you completed quest number 1, if you go over to your tokens, you will notice that you have a little bit of XRP, which is needed for staking. We got 21 active validators. They're all being run by the team with a total of over 64 million root, otherwise 0.64% of the supply staked. There's a requirement of 25 root to be able to nominate a validator. However, if you only have less than 25 root, you are able to stake when you're in the window filling this out. There's an option for that. I can't bring it up right now because I've already done that and I don't want to unstake, but realize that you can skip the nominator phase. So one of the reasons that you'd want to stake is because you'll actually be earning Vortex tokens. And going over this chart quickly for the 90-day reward cycle, the gas fee can be paid in any approved token. They are swapped to XRP automatically and captured in the Vortex. So root, XRP, Silo, and ASTO. Network fees are captured in the Vortex, and network fees are derived from decentralized exchanges, NFT marketplaces, communication protocols, material world, etc. 0.5% marketplace transaction fees, 0.05% DEX transaction fees. And when you compare these numbers, you can see that for Uniswap, for just swapping tokens, it's a 0.3% fee. For OpenSea, doing any kind of trades gets 2.5% or gives OpenSea 2.5%. And so a 0.5% marketplace transaction fees, which is the same as Blur and significantly lesser than OpenSea, and a 0.05% DEX transaction fee, which is significantly less than Uniswap's 0.3%. This is looking pretty good. So 30% of these Vortex tokens go to stakers, and 70% of them go to work distribution. And these work points can only be earned by nominators and validators. So there is a significant more reward for becoming a nominator and or a validator versus just staking, which, as I just mentioned, you'll need at least 25 root to be able to nominate. But again, don't worry about that if you don't have it. So this is just the general 90-day reward cycle for the root network. Right now, if you are completing quest number 2, it involves staking for 90 days, and it ends on November 20th. And the number of root rewards you receive from quests will be dependent on your future score, the amount of root staked, and the time staked. Now, a piece of information that we did get is this is not going to be the only quest leading up to November 20th, so do expect other ones to kind of fill in the gap between now and then. So back to the network cycles, there's also bootstrap rewards. So 10% of the total supply of root tokens are being given out over 260 weeks as a bootstrap. So stakers, 0.0246 per root stake paid in Vortex tokens. Nominators, you're about doubling that at 0.0492 per root. And validators, you are almost doubling that again at 0.0739 per root staked paid in Vortex tokens. So how do I know which validators to choose? And this is something that I looked up, and Polkadot's actually a great resource for this. It is essential to do your own research, which you're doing right now, before nominating, and to keep monitoring your nominations. Best practices for nominating. Number 1, choose more than one validator if at least one of the validators you nominate is elected by the election algorithm to be in the active set. You will nominate them with your entire stake. However, there is a risk of getting no rewards if you nominate very few validator candidates and none of them are chosen. Therefore, it is safer to choose as many trustworthy validators as possible. Now, I'm just jumping in here because I'm editing this right now, and I just want to preface that the Polkadot website that I was looking at, it gave just information based on validators that I think is similar to what's happening with the root network. Minor things might be different, so don't, take everything here with like kind of a grain of salt as we're getting more documentation and we're seeing things flush out, because it doesn't seem like you're getting penalized at all if you're only on one validator right now. But again, there's a very finite number of them, and again, they're all being run by the team, so they're quote-unquote safe, and usually the only reason that a validator would go down is because there is a massive power outage in like a certain area, etc., etc. So just want to kind of preface that as you're watching, and hope you enjoy. And look here, we got videos of stakes. So they mentioned election algorithm, and on SensNet, they actually have a little bit of info on what are validator elections. Validator elections are the process by which token holders, nominators, vote validator nodes they think are trustworthy to secure the network. Validator elections are held every 24 hours, and successfully elected validators will serve for a 24-hour period before a new election occurs. There are a fixed number of active validator slots available in every election. SensNet currently has 15 places, and obviously that's changed here, where for Root we have upwards of 21. However, there is no limit to how many validator nodes can apply to be considered in an election cycle. We also intend to increase the cap over time as more validators join the network, and as we continue the path to full community governance. So what do elected/active validators do? Elected validators, also known as active validators, act as node operators who each store a copy of the blockchain and must perform certain functions to keep the system secure. On SensNet, validator nodes are responsible for authoring new blocks and voting in the finalization protocol. They also earn a commission for their service in the form of CPay. And for us on Root, it's Vortex. Gas and network fees accumulate during the reward cycle. These fees are transferred in the Vortex at the end of the cycle, and Vortex tokens are minted to reward participants based on their participation level. And Vortex tokens can be unwound anytime, releasing the underlying tokens in the Vortex to the holder. And this is the part that's very interesting to me, because it seems like there's not actually a reason to unstake your Root unless you're wanting to use that Root for some kind of purchase when the marketplace comes out. And it also kind of reminds me of the way that ASTO is, with it being staked. You can get ASTO energy. All rewards on the Root network are distributed as Vortex tokens. Vortex tokens are tokens that can be unwound to release a corresponding percentage of tokens that are in the Vortex, which again, right now, we have Silo, Root, XRP, and ASTO. And when you scroll down on the staking.therootnetwork.com/validators page, you'll be able to see the total Root nominated to the different nodes. Obviously, we got number 1 coming in strong at 10 million. And then we go to page number 3, we got just under 2 million on number 28. But you can see that there's only 21 active. But when you scroll through it, all of them say active, and I think because the team's running all of them, I'm not entirely sure about how this is going to work, but as we looked at a second ago, these validators have to be chosen to get rewards, so that's why it's good to spread out your chosen validators with your Root just a little bit. Now, one thing to also note as well that you might not have realized is Root is actually transferable on the Root network itself. But ladies and gentlemen, Root is technically tradable. Wag, man. Validators verify transactions and add new blocks on the Root network. Become a validator, coming soon. So if you happen to be kind of tech savvy and you're wanting to get on this, I've seen some people say in the Fluff World chat that they're already trying to think of coming up with different ways of basically running these validators for people with a fee. And it's interesting watching the community kind of transpire, transform, and become a potential behemoth. A behemoth. And so this is really my big takeaway with this, that something I think a lot of people may have realized, but not really, paid attention until it was there in their face on the dashboard, is that staked Root equals 4 other tokens as of right now. That is crazy. And also, if you are wanting to become a validator, you do have to have 25,000 Root to do so. And if you haven't seen the one-of-one Buzzy, the Bombus has arrived. Honestly, it's made me think Buzzies are way cooler. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope this was helpful in some kind of fashion, even if it was just watching this Bombus fly.